Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Steve. Thank you for stopping by my channel. I'm just an American guy on a journey to discover my British and Irish ancestry. Today, we're going to be reacting to why Ireland split into the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. Before we get started, I just want to let everybody know this is actually my first Irish-related video that I'm reacting to. I didn't set out for it to take so long after I started the channel to get to Irish content because I was just as interested going into this to look into Irish content as I was British content. But it was like I started with the British content and it was just like one interesting topic after another that, it was just every day. It was just another interesting topic to look at. And I finally had to stop myself and say, okay, I've got to start checking out Irish content because I'm just as interested about Ireland as I am about Britain. And so that's what today is. This is my first venture into looking at anything related to Ireland or the Irish people. And I'm super excited to start this segment of my journey. I'm going to obviously continue to react to British content, but I'm going to start adding Irish content alongside it. And I got to figure out exactly how to, how I'm going to do that because I'm so interested in both my British ancestry and my Irish ancestry and just the British Isles in general. And so I got to figure out how exactly do I, mix and match the content to where it makes sense for me and I continue retaining the information and I continue learning. And yeah. So anyways, guys, enough of me rambling. Let's go ahead and check out why Ireland split into the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. But I will say, before I get started there, when I started this journey, I didn't even know Ireland was two separate countries. I assumed that Ireland was Ireland. How did I not know that? But then again, I didn't know a lot about the British Isles that I currently know. So I think my journey over the past month on this channel has helped me understand so much more about, how the British Isles are made up. But I have no idea how they split. I have no idea when they split, and I have no idea why they split. So let's go ahead and check this out.
This is the island of Ireland. The island is politically split between the Republic of Ireland, an independent country, and Northern Ireland, which, together with Scotland, England and Wales, form the United Kingdom. But why exactly is Ireland split, and when did it happen? To fully understand the situation, we need to go all the way back to the 12th century. After the Normans had successfully invaded England and taken the throne, they decided to invade Ireland. Henry II, with the authorisation of Pope Adrian IV to strengthen the papacy's control over the Irish Church, landed in Ireland in 1171 and took control of large parts of the island, and in the following year the Lordship of Ireland was created, in which the Lord of Ireland was also the King of England. The Lordship of Ireland was a papal possession held by the King of England. This was the beginning of what would become centuries of English and later British rule over the island of Ireland. Officially, the Lordship of Ireland ruled over the entire island, but in reality control was much less than this, and over the years English control of Ireland receded over time. This was a time before there was a religious difference between Ireland and England. The English and the native Irish were both Catholic nations, as this was a time before the emergence of Protestantism, so many of the Normans in Ireland assimilated into Irish culture, and some were said to have become more Irish than the Irish themselves. Laws were introduced which banned intermarriage between English settlers and the Gaelic Irish, as well as a ban on the use of the Irish language, but these laws were largely ineffective. By the late 15th century, English rule was limited to an area known as the Pale.
What is the Pale? What does that mean? And also, what is the traditional Irish language? I don't know that.
The early 16th century and what became known as the Protestant Reformation, in which many European powers turned their back on the Roman Catholic Church, forming a new branch of the Christian faith. Although the Reformation was about religion, it also had a lot to do with politics as well. With Henry VIII as the King of England, the Pope refused to annul his marriage to Catherine of Aragon. This, as well as other contributing factors, caused Henry VIII to break away from the Roman Catholic Church and establish the Church of England, with himself as the leader. With this, the political situation in Ireland became uncertain, as Ireland was a papal possession with the King of England as Lord of Ireland. In 1542, after an Act of Irish Parliament, Henry VIII was proclaimed King of Ireland, as the Lordship of Ireland became the Kingdom of Ireland. However, Henry VIII was not recognised by the Catholic powers throughout Europe. After Henry VIII's death in 1547, his Protestant-raised 9-year-old son Edward VI ascended to the throne, but he died of illness just a few years later at the age of 15.
Wow.
Mary I, Henry VIII's daughter, was next in line to the throne, and since Mary was nearly 20 years older than her half-brother Edward, she was raised before the Protestant Reformation and was therefore Catholic. Because of this, Mary I was recognised as the Queen of Ireland. Ireland had remained loyal to the Pope, and the island was almost entirely Catholic. In 1603, after the death of Queen Elizabeth I, the last of the Tudor dynasty, James VI of Scotland also became King of England because of his somewhat unique family ancestry, in which he was the son of Mary I, Queen of Scots, and also the great-great-grandson of Henry VII. He was therefore known as James I, King of England, and also King of Ireland as well. This was known as the Union of the Crowns, in which Scotland, England and Ireland all shared a common monarch. In 1609, under James I's reign, the Plantation of Ulster was a process by which Scottish and English settlers confiscated land from the Gaelic Irish. This was seen as a way to stop rebellion in the north, as Ulster had been a region of Ireland most resistant to English rule. Although there had been plenty of plantations in Ireland throughout the years, the Plantation of Ulster was by far the most successful, and within just a few decades, the Protestant colonist population was thriving, and even made up a
The impact of the Plantation of Ulster can still be seen today. Distribution of Protestants in Ireland, 1861 and 2011. Okay, gotcha.
majority in some areas in the north. In 1641, Irish Catholics in Ulster...
So basically from that I can see that the majority of Northern Ireland is Protestant, or at least maybe half. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look, but it looked like the Republic of Ireland is mostly Catholic, even still today.
Staged a rebellion against the settlers, which led to the Irish Confederate Wars between the Irish Catholic Confederation and the Scottish and English settlers. Most of the island of Ireland was under de facto Irish Catholic rule for several years. This was until 1649, when Oliver Cromwell and his new model army conquered Ireland after overthrowing the English monarchy, executing Charles I and declaring himself Lord Protector of Scotland, England and Ireland. Cromwell ruled over the three kingdoms until his death in 1658. During this time there was more confiscation of land from the native Catholics, and anyone even suspected of being involved in the 1641 rebellion was executed.
Wow.
His son Richard very briefly ruled afterwards, but the monarchy was restored in 1660 when Charles II became king, son of the executed Charles I. Charles II was Protestant, but his brother James II had converted to Catholicism during his time in France, so when Charles II died in 1685, Scotland, England and Ireland once again had a Catholic monarch.
Wow.
At this point, the majority of people in Scotland and England were Protestant, and many were uneasy with James II as their monarch. However, next in line to the throne was his daughter Mary, who was Protestant. This all changed in 1688 with the birth of his son, the would-be James III, who would undoubtedly be raised Catholic. The only reason his daughter Mary was Protestant was because his late brother and former king demanded she be raised as such. So with this change, it looked like Scotland and England would have a Catholic monarchy for the foreseeable future. The birth of the king's son sparked what became known as the Glorious Revolution, in which the two major political parties invited William of Orange to invade England and take the throne. William of Orange successfully defeated his father-in-law, who also happened to be his uncle since William and Mary were first cousins, and they took the throne together as William III and Mary II, King and Queen of England. Of course, this also made them King and Queen of Ireland, and with a Catholic majority this was obviously not received well. This started a war in Ireland between the native Irish, led by James II, who were mainly Catholic, against the kingdoms of Scotland and England. The Williamite War in Ireland resulted in victory for King William. For the next century, Catholic majority Ireland was ruled by a Protestant minority, known as the Protestant Ascendancy.
Whoops, I wanted to see that. Let's see, what is that? Penal laws introduced during the Protestant Ascendancy, exclusion of Catholics from most public offices, ban on intermarriage with Protestants, Catholics barred from holding firearms, barred from membership in the Parliament of Ireland, Roman Catholic prohibited from voting, ban on Catholics buying land under a lease of more than 31 years, ban on Catholics inheriting Protestant land, prohibition on Catholics owning a horse valued at over £5. Wow.
Ascendancy. In 1707, the Kingdom of Scotland and the Kingdom of England joined to create the Kingdom of Great Britain. And then in 1798 there was an uprising against British rule in Ireland in the Irish Rebellion of 1798, inspired by the French Revolution a decade earlier.
Wow.
The rebellion failed, but it caused a lot of uncertainty on the political situation of Ireland. There were concerns that Ireland might ally themselves with France and break away from British rule. So in 1801, Ireland joined the Union and became the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. Opposition to the Union was strong and occasionally escalated into violence. The late 1800s saw a rise in demand for self-government, and in 1886 the first Home Rule Bill was proposed. In response to this, the Liberal Unionist Party was created in support of the Union and opposed Irish Home Rule. The bill failed, as did the second bill proposed in 1892, but in 1914 the third Home Rule Bill was passed. But 1914 was also the year in which World War I started, and therefore the bill had to be put on hold.
It's true.
With the British Army still occupied with the war in Europe, Irish Republicans staged a rebellion in Dublin called the Easter Rising, with a goal of putting an end to British rule in Ireland and establishing an Irish Republic. The rising took
What does that say? Is that original Irish language? Original government of the Irish, or is that just, I don't know. The Irish Republic to the people of Ireland. In the name of God and of dead generations from which she receives the old tradition nationhood. Ireland through us summons her children to her flag and strikes for her freedom.
place over the course of just a few days, but nearly 500 people died, most of whom were civilians. But with far superior numbers, the British Army managed to suppress the rebellion. The result was an unconditional surrender by the rebel forces, and most of the rebel leaders were executed. In the 1918 UK general election, an Irish political party called Sinn Féin, who supported Irish independence, and many of their members had participated in the Easter Rising, won 73 of the 105 Irish seats at the British Parliament. But they chose to not take their seats at the British Parliament and instead decided to form their own Irish Parliament and proclaim an Irish.
What is? Hold on. Let me see that again. Where is it? There it is. So this was the different main parties that were in control of these different counties, I'm guessing. Irish Unionist, Irish Parliamentary Party, Sinn Féin.
They decided to form their own Irish Parliament and proclaim an Irish Republic as a newly independent country. The Irish Republic claimed the whole island of Ireland, but there was a lot of support for the Union in the north, especially in Ulster, in which 4 of the 9 counties won a Unionist majority. This led to the Irish War for Independence, primarily between the IRA and the British Army. In 1920, with the war still ongoing, a 4th Home Rule Bill was passed, superseding the 3rd Home Rule Bill that was passed but never implemented. This partitioned Ireland into Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland. Northern Ireland consisted of 6 of the 9 counties of Ulster. This was despite 2 of them having a Catholic majority. The rest of the island became Southern Ireland. The split was intended to be a temporary solution to the war.
This is what I'm interested in. I noticed this when they highlighted the difference between Northern Ireland and Southern and the Republic of Ireland. It's interesting how this area was part of Southern Ireland. I always, as soon as I found out that Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland are technically 2 separate countries, I always assumed this part was part of Northern Ireland. It's interesting.
So Ireland would remain part of the United Kingdom with Home Rule, but instead of having 1 Irish Parliament in Dublin, there would be 2, one in Dublin for Southern Ireland and one in Belfast for Northern Ireland. This was an attempt to meet demands of both Irish nationalists and Irish Unionists. And while the Northern Irish government was successfully established, the Southern Irish government was not. The war continued and the Southern Irish government never functioned. The Irish War for Independence lasted for 2.5 years, resulting in a ceasefire and the Anglo-Irish Treaty. The treaty established the Irish Free State, which would become a dominion of the British Commonwealth, along with the likes of Canada, Australia and South Africa, among others at the time. The treaty included the whole island of Ireland, but had an opt-out clause for Northern Ireland, which they immediately exercised, so the short-lived Southern Ireland became the Irish Free State. Some were happy with this situation, but others were not. Many were unhappy that Ireland was still part of the British Empire and wanted total independence. So the Irish nationalists were split between the pro-treaty nationalists and the anti-treaty nationalists. The political party Sinn Féin split into 2 separate parties. pro-treaty Sinn Féin that was happy with the status quo and the anti-treaty Sinn Féin that sought full independence. In the 1922 Irish general election, the two political parties that won the most seats were Sinn Féin and Sinn Féin, with the pro-treaty party winning more seats. The disagreement escalated into civil war just 1 year after the end of the War for Independence. Many men who had fought together in Ireland's War for Independence were now on opposing sides of a civil war. The pro-treaty forces emerged victorious, affirming the status of the Irish Free State a British Dominion. After the war, the anti-treaty Sinn Féin refused to take their seats at the Irish Parliament in protest of the treaty. Because of this, their leader, Eamon de Valera, resigned from the party and founded a new political party, Fianna Fáil, and they became the dominant political party in Ireland from 1932 onwards. He strongly opposed the treaty as well, but thought his former party's tactics were not helpful. In 1937, a referendum was held for a new constitution to remove all British ties from Ireland. 56% of people voted in favour, and Ireland adopted a new constitution, becoming a fully independent country. The country changed its name to Ireland. Just Ireland. The country is often referred to as the Republic of Ireland to differentiate itself from the island of Ireland, but its official name is simply Ireland. This was to reflect the fact that Ireland's claimed territory was the entire island, believing the partition of Ireland to be illegitimate. Despite this claim though, Northern Ireland continued as normal as part of the United Kingdom. Ireland exercised their independence by choosing to remain neutral in World War II, which started just 2 years later. And while that should be the end of the story, there were 3 decades of ongoing violence from the late 1960s to 1990s in a period known as the Troubles. The violence was mainly concentrated in Northern Ireland, but occasionally spilled over into Ireland, England and even mainland Europe. Although the majority of Northern Ireland's population was Protestant and Unionist, there was a substantial minority that were Catholic and nationalist and wanted Northern Ireland to join the Republic. After 3 decades of conflict between various organisations and thousands of casualties, a ceasefire was called to put a stop to the violence in 1998 with the Good Friday Agreement. The agreement caused the Republic of Ireland to amend their constitution, removing their territorial claim over Northern Ireland, and the British and Irish governments agreed that if a majority of people in Northern Ireland wish to leave the United Kingdom and join the Republic, the governments will make it happen. The lasting impact of the Troubles can still be seen today, especially in Belfast, in which there are walls that separate Protestant and Catholic communities, and there is still occasional violence. However, the situation is improving, and the government has made a goal to remove all of these so-called peace walls by the year 2023.
Wow. I had no idea. I had heard of the Troubles. I had seen that in the comments section as something I should look into, but I had no idea what that was. So basically, that's just kind of, I'll have to look into that to get a further idea of what that was. But this is amazing to me. I had no clue that the, is it the religion itself, or is it more, basically the Catholics and the Protestants are basically on opposing sides of wanting to be, independent or wanting to be, a part of Britain. I'm still not quite sure what he's saying there with that, but I'll have to look into the Troubles. That seems like something interesting to look into. So he said these are supposed to be removed by 2023. That's next year. So it's like, is that on the way happening? This kind of gives me the vibe of like a Berlin Wall type situation. Is it kind of like that? Or is it, or am I, does it have nothing to do with something like that? Is it that divided? Because I just find it really interesting, because this is something that I may have learned some of this in school, but school was so long ago that, I didn't pay attention back when I was a kid, to any of this type of stuff. But now I'm interested in it. A big reason because, it is part of my ancestors' history. So I'm definitely interested in this type of stuff. But this was an interesting video. It was a great start to kind of understanding what's going on. I think I'll have to go back through it though, because it's pretty deep. All the different transitions between kings and whatnot, and it going back and forth between Protestant and Catholic. So if you are Northern Ireland and you're in the Republic of Ireland, so if you're in Northern Ireland, you would call yourself, you live in Northern Ireland. If you live in the Republic of Ireland, you would just say you lived in Ireland. Is that correct? it's just so interesting because before I started these videos, I just did not know. I don't even know how I didn't know that it was two separate countries. But it's just so interesting. And I've also gotten a few glimpses here and there. I don't know where lately that there's some sort of movement to, to bring both Irish nations back together. Is that something that's moving forward? Is that something that's supported by the majority, or is that just kind of a small movement? I have a lot of questions, but I think I'm going to leave that here for now, and I will just continue this journey looking at other videos moving forward. I think I'll go back and watch this video again, though, just to kind of get a better understanding. But guys, if you have any suggestions for things for me to check out about Ireland or the Irish people, I am definitely down for that. Just like when I started looking into Britain, I had no idea where to go. I started with a video, and then slowly but surely, commenters gave me ideas, and I just kind of started, kind of going in a certain direction and figuring out things I should look into. And over time, over this last month, I've learned so much more about Britain than I did. And I want to do the same with Ireland. I want to know, in a month from now, I hope to know so much more about Ireland than I do today. Because I don't know very much at all. And I'm excited to learn, because this is, the Ireland is a part of my ancestry. Along with Britain. And so, yeah, guys, so thank you very much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to leave your comments and suggestions about this video or about other videos that I should check out about anything, Ireland politics, Ireland geography, beautiful places, accents, whatnot. And, just leave those recommendations for me, and I'll try to get around to them in the near future. Also, please subscribe to continue joining me on this journey to discover my British and Irish ancestry. Until next time, guys, peace.